Welcome to yet another brain tube video. Now let's realize, and this is not to say whether or not individuals like or dislike pornography. That is a moral and religious debate that must be determined by each individual based on their age, etc. However, any event that causes a high level of release of dopamine will make it more difficult to produce the same amount, and certainly a higher level, of dopamine through with a subsequent encounter. Yes, many people are hooked to pornography, and yes, many people who routinely engage in pornography face difficulties in real-world, romantic connections. Thankfully, most people do not undergo or pursue massive dopamine surges that result in these extreme reductions in baseline. Nevertheless, many people do, and this is what we term addiction. When someone follows a drug or an action that causes massive increases in dopamine, you also comprehend that the baseline of dopamine declines as a result of dopamine exhaustion, the rapidly releasable pool. Because there is no dopamine to be released, people feel fairly miserable, and many people make the error of pursuing the dopamine trigger. The dopamine-releasing activity or drug, falsely believing that it will raise their baseline. It'll give them that high point once more. It not only does provide them with a peak, but their baseline continues to fall as they deplete dopamine more and more. This has happened numerous times. When people become hooked to anything, they don't get much enjoyment from it. This is also evident in online gaming. People will play an online game because they enjoy it. It's quite thrilling to them, and they'll then keep playing, and playing, and playing until one of two things seem to happen, usually both. First and foremost, as I constantly say, addiction is a continuous shrinking of the things that give you so much excitement. What happens is that the person only experiences pleasure and can accomplish dopamine release to the same level when performing that conduct and not other behaviors. As a result, people begin to lose their interest in school, with relationships, with health, and in overall well-being, which depletes their lives. What appears to be happening is that they stop obtaining dopamine from that activity as well, and then they fall into a significant depression. This can become very serious, and people have committed suicide as a result of such patterns of behavior. What about the more common scenario? What about someone who is exceptionally good at working throughout the week and exercises? They drink during the week but not on weekends. That person, on the other hand, only drinks alcohol on 1 or 2 nights per week. However, that very same person will frequently be increasing their dopamine with meals in the midst of the week. We all need to eat anymore, and it's wonderful to consume stuff we enjoy. I certainly do. In reality, I enjoy food, but let's suppose they're eating meals that cause a lot of dopamine release in the course of the week. They are among those work hard, party hard kinds, and they drink 1 or more such on the weekend. So, in the course of the week, they're swimming a few kilometers in the sea. They're going out partying once a week, which sounds like a reasonably balanced lifestyle. Here's the issue, as I've described it. The issue is that dopamine is elicited by more than one of these actions. All of these activities elicit dopamine, and dopamine is a currency of wanting motivation, desire, and pleasure. There is a single currency. So, even if we look at the events, you'd think, okay, it's only on weekends, or this activity only happens a couple occasions a week. If you looked at dopamine as a function, as a chemical relation of peaks and baseline, you'd see it as a function of peaks and baseline. It might make sense for this person to remark, you know, I'm getting kind of stressed out after many years of working hard and playing hard. I just don't feel like I possess the same stamina that I possessed a few years ago, and there are age-related reasons why individuals can notice energy reductions. However, what is frequently occurring is not a reduction in cellular metabolism caused by age. What's occurring is that they're increasing their dopamine levels so much during the week that their baseline is gradually lowering. In this scenario, it might be extremely subtle, very subtle, and that is a really dangerous effect of dopamine. We could say that it often drops in unnoticeable ways, but once it reaches a low dopamine threshold, you just feel like you can't really receive pleasure from anything anymore. What used to work no longer does. As a result, it begins to resemble more severe or acute addictions to substances such as cocaine and amphetamine, which results in these significant increases, very large spikes in dopamine, followed by these significant decreases in the baseline. Of course, we should all engage in activities that we enjoy. I know I do, and everyone should. Pursuing activities and things that we enjoy is a big part of life. The objective is to comprehend the link between the peaks and the baseline, as well as how they impact one another. Once you've done that, you'll be able to make incredibly good choices in the shorter term, and in the long term, you'll be able to sustain or even raise your dopamine levels. That level of dopamine baseline and yet attain the peaks and sensations of enhanced motivation, desire, and need. Those peaks, along with a properly healthy high level of dopamine baseline, are what pushed our species' evolution. They also drive the evolution of anybody's life growth, thus they're a wonderful thing. Dopamine is a wonderful thing. Thanks for giving your precious time, and see you in another BrainTube video.